Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is NAKIE and this is Cook with NAKIE. I hope everybody is doing well. Have you ever heard of papaya or pawpaw stew? Yes, I'm bringing that to you today. Stay back and let's get started. So for this recipe, you need your papaya or pawpaw. Back home in Ghana, we call it pawpaw, but here in America, they call it papaya. And make sure you get the green one. For this recipe, you don't need the ripe one. Make sure it's green like that. So I peeled the skin off and I'm going to cut this into two. So when you cut into two, you're going to see the difference between the ripe one and unripe one. Usually the ripe ones has like a brownish blackish seed in it, but when it's not ripe, this is how it looks. So make sure when you cut it, it's supposed to have this in it. Otherwise you can, if it's too sweet, you can't use it for this recipe. Okay, so with my spoon, I'm taking off the seed. You could use a knife, but it's not safe. It doesn't really come up. The spoon is perfect, so make sure you use the spoon to take off all the seed from it. So I know most of you probably wondering, how can you use pawpaw to make a stew? I've never heard of that. Trust me, I've never heard of that until I made this stew. So what happened was I was talking to my husband one time and he told me how my mother-in-law used to use pawpaw to make soups when there's no like garden eggs. You know how people use garden eggs for their soups. So sometimes my mother-in-law used to use this pawpaw for soups, like to thicken the soup sometimes when they don't have garden eggs. So later on in my mind, I'm like, wait, if you can use that for soup, then of course you can use that for stew. So that came up, and guys, I never regretted doing this recipe. It was good. It was really good. So as you can see, I'm washing up the pawpaw and I'm going to be cooking it. So basically we're going to cook this like we're cooking your consomme or your garden eggs for your stew. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So I wash it up. I'm going to add water to it and just cook it till it's soft. So I added 1 tomato to it and enough water to cover the pawpaw. I'm going to bring this to a boil till it's tender. So while our pawpaw is cooking, I have some onion pearls and one scotch bonnet pepper. You could use any onions you prefer. I have this, so I wanted to use it. So I'm going to grind this in my earthenware bowl. You could use a blender if you prefer, but it's not a lot of stew that I'm making, so I prefer using the earthenware bowl. And about 7 minutes later, I check on my pawpaw and tomatoes, and the tomatoes are done. You could tell from the skin coming off, but the pawpaw is so hot. So I'm gonna take the tomatoes out and I'm gonna let the pawpaw cook for some minutes more. I'm not gonna be adding the tomatoes to this mixture, the onion and the scotch bonnet pepper, and I'm gonna grind them together. As I said earlier on, if you don't have the earthenware bowl, or you're not comfortable using it, just use your blender or food processor for this part. With this recipe, you don't have to use it. I just prefer using it because I wasn't making a lot of stew, so it was easier for me to use the earthenware bowl. And this is how it looks like after you add your tomato to the mixture. I'm gonna set this aside and let's check on our pawpaw now, or the papaya, and look at that. When I poke the fork at it, see, it is soft. That means it is ready. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be grinding this in the tomato mixture. So we're going to be doing this like we're making garden eggs sauce, like the abomu type. Okay, when you're doing this part, make sure you add it a little bit at a time. I realize even though it's soft for me to use it, it's still not soft like garden eggs. Yeah, but the softness is ready, but make sure you do it a little bit at a time. You could put everything at once and grind, but it's going to be hard for you to grind if you're using the earthenware bowl. But if you're using like a food processor or a blender, then trust me, just put everything in it and just hit the pause or the blend button. But since I'm using the earthenware bowl, if I put everything at a time, it's going to be hard for me to grind. So make sure you put it one at a time, like what I'm doing, and it was easier that way. So when my husband told me about my mother-in-law using this papaya for soups back in the days, I asked him, wait, isn't that gonna taste like pawpaw, like something like that? And he said no, it didn't taste like pawpaw, it just tastes like garden eggs, but a different taste of it, but it was good. So when I was making this tea, I was like, oh my god, I hope it doesn't taste like pawpaw, because I'm using pawpaw, of course it has to, but trust me, it did not taste like sweet pawpaw, because the green one, it has this taste like, it's not bitter, it's not sweet, it's like garden eggs, but different kind. It tastes good. I don't know how to explain this to you until you make this recipe, and trust me, if it's not good, I'm not gonna bring this recipe to you. So if you go to the market, you can find garden eggs, or you want to try something different, try this pawpaw stew, and trust me, you thank me later. So I'm heating up my red oil, and I'm now adding my salted tilapia or my kobe, and this is going to infuse some flavor into the oil. If you don't have this, do not worry yourself, you could do without it. So I'm going to fry this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm going to be adding my sliced onions to it. So in about 2 to 3 minutes later, you could tell from the smoke, my heat was too high. I forgot to put it on medium, so it is extra hot. Make sure you're careful just in case your oil gets this hot. I'm adding my half slice onions to it. This is going to fry for additional 2 to 3 minutes, and we are almost done, guys. So my onions have been frying for about 2 minutes now. I'm going to be adding my baked mackerel. If you don't have baked mackerel, you could use any fish of your choice. I'm just going to let the mackerel fry for about 2 minutes, and it is done. Since the mackerel is already baked, so it doesn't need a lot of cooking. So just fry in the oil for a little bit, like 2 minutes, and we are ready, guys. We are almost done. I'm not going to be adding my pawpaw mixture, the one that we grind in the earthenware bowl, into this oil mixture. So if you want, you could do the other way around by pouring the oil on top of the pawpaw mixture in the earthenware bowl, like you're doing your regular apple sauce. So the reason why I didn't do that is the pawpaw itself, after grinding it, it has that kind of thick consistency. It's not like the garden egg that is a little bit softer. It has that kind of thick consistency, and I wanted to soften up a little bit. That's why I poured mine into the oil for it to cook for 2 to 3 minutes. But if you like the thick consistency, you could just pour the oil on top like you're making your regular apple sauce. So as you can see, guys, I added 1 teaspoon of shrimp tablet to it. That is optional. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. Use any seasoning of your choice. I also added a little bit of salt, but I didn't have that part of the video recorded. So yeah, taste for salt and add a little bit if you need to. And guys, that's it. Our papaya stew, it is ready. I had this with some yam, and guys, it was good. You could have it with anything you prefer: yam, plantain, rice, cocoa yam, anything you prefer. And guys, I know you're gonna love it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you give this recipe a try, and I know you're gonna love it. Until I come your way next time, please subscribe to the channel, share this video to your friends and family, and I will see you in my next video. And don't forget to be good to yourself, be good to everybody. It goes a long way.